All right, we're here with Kenny Payne, new Louisville basketball coach, 2 months into the job. KP, before you came back, you and I had several conversations about the Louisville coaching job, and I remember you told me if you ever got the job, you're going to have as many former Louisville players at your introductory press conference as possible. That's exactly what you did. Why was that your vision for how you wanted to do it, and how important was that for what you're trying to achieve here?
Great question. Great question. First of all, I can't stand in front of Louisville without my people with me, my brothers with me. As a former player, everything that I've experienced as a player in this university, I shared it with the Purvises, the Robbies, the Wiley Browns, even though they're older, the Derek Smiths, the Lancaster, Charles, Griff. They're a part of this university. The blood, sweat, and tears from all those guys is sort of what I'm representing as I sit in this chair. So there's immense pressure on me to make sure for them that this is done the right way.
How does it translate into what you're trying to achieve here?
Well, it's still in the beginning stages, but I can tell you that I want them involved in everything that we're doing. I want them to know that they are loved in this community. I want them to know that, for example, probably gonna put a little heat on Adidas with this. When Adidas sat down with me, we talked about retro jerseys to where these guys could get their jerseys out there and be a part of it. So I want them to be a part of everything Louisville basketball is because they're the blood of the program.
Retro jerseys, you mean for like Griff and Lancaster and
All
Milt and
of
all
them.
that?
All of them.
And how's that going?
Well, we just started the conversation, and they were open to it. So I'm gonna hold their feet to the fire on that one.
All right. Not everybody knows this, but this is actually the third time you've been at U of L. First time was as a player from '85 to '89. This time you're as the head coach. But the second time was after you finished playing pro ball. You came back here for what, a year and a half?
Yep, year and a half.
And finished your degree about 20 years ago. Why was that important to you? And when you came back, was being a college basketball coach or being a coach the path that you thought you were going to go on?
To go back in time to really remember, which is hard for me, when I finished playing my career as a professional, I went to a 76ers practice. And Larry Brown was coaching the Sixers at the time, and they were in the playoffs. This man stopped practice, took me in his office, and said, "Kenny, what do you want to do?" And so we talked about coaching. And the one thing he said to me was like, do you have your degree? Because you don't want to be stuck in one spot. So if you don't have a degree, all you can do is coach in the NBA. If you have your degree, you can do both. I didn't know at that time I wanted to coach Rick, but what he did was he opened my eyes and said, "You've got to get your degree. Go back to Louisville, get your degree." And so that's what I did, and it was life-changing. It was hard, but it was life-changing. In this university, to think back, you said 20 years it's been, to now I'm sitting in this seat, a lot of that is based off the love that this university gave me to allow me to go back to school and get my degree.
So without Larry Brown, you might not have done it?
Probably, I can't say I wouldn't have done it, but he was the first person to talk to me really about doing it.
Wow. When you think back, I mean, what you did as a student when you were actually a player, did you just not take it seriously enough, or you had so many time requirements that you couldn't take classes, or why do you think it
To be honest with you, I think that as an athlete, as a student athlete, we forget the student part. What I know now is that I loved basketball. When I was sitting in class, I was anticipating class being over so I can go work on my jump shot. What I know now and what I've tried to teach now is that if you truly love basketball, don't allow anyone to say that you're not smart. don't let anyone allow you to not know the value of an education. Because I was 35 years old or so having to learn that lesson the hard way. I had to go back and make up for all those years of neglecting my academics. And so that's the lesson that I learned, and I have to pass that forward to other young people.
Is that something you've shared with the players you've worked with at Oregon and at Kentucky, and that you're going to share with the Louisville guys here? And do you sense any of them like taking it seriously or picking up on it?
It won't be a choice. I'm a living example. What if I didn't go back to school? What if, like, where would I be? What would I be doing? It's easy for me to.
What would you be doing?
Who knows? But the fact that I did, the fact that I went back and took it serious and was nervous about it. I joke with people sometimes talking about I never passed a math class till I was 35 years old.
Really?
Truly. And so
Because you didn't take it seriously until
I
then?
didn't take it serious. I didn't really study. I never took advantage of the tutors until I was 35 years old. And thank God for Marvin Mitchell and Scott Saladay because they helped me through it.
Wow. You were interested in the job 4 years ago, and you got a courtesy telephone call and really not much more than that. Did you think that this opportunity would have come back to you at some point?
No, I did not. And to be honest, you know, when they called me, I had a great job. I was in a great situation at Kentucky, and I love Louisville. It's my passion. It's where I grew up. To think about coming out of Laurel, Mississippi, and what this university has done for me, come on, it's surreal. The relationships that I've had, the brotherhood that I've had, just being here, growing up, invaluable. And so when the first time it came open, I was disappointed maybe, but I didn't take it personal because I'm at a place where I'm helping change lives. At the end of the day, that's what this is. This position as a coach, whether it's the head coaching seat, the assistant coaching seat, the trainer seat, we have a duty to these young people to make sure that we give them a chance to be successful in life.
All right, you've been on the job 2 months. What's the biggest thing you've learned?
It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of moving parts. You can never really figure it out or lock in on one thing. It's coming every single day, from recruiting to making sure the players are good, to obligations in this community that is vital, that is much needed, A to Z.
How important is that part of it to you, like as the first black head coach here at UofL in basketball, in terms of what you can do to help people in the community?
I didn't understand the magnitude of it initially. Before I got the job, I think Griff was the first person to tell me this. He was like, Kenny Payne, this is a time where you can heal a lot of people. Didn't really get it until I got here and I saw how many people have embraced me being here, how many lives have reached out to me and said, thank you. And I'm saying, you're saying thank you now, let me lose a game, please don't be ready to shoot me. But Griff was the first person to really say, you can heal. You're the one person that may be able to fix the healing part of this community. And so that's a heavy responsibility, and I'm embracing it. It's out of my character. I'm not a minister, I'm not a politician, but what I am is I'm a relationship person, and I want my relationships to help everybody.
Have you thought about some things you can do along that road, or people approach you with ideas of things you
People
can
have
do?
approached me with a lot of ideas. The first thing is the black community in the West End and helping do things there to help these young kids. People that look like me, as you say, the first African American head coach at this university. There's a responsibility that comes with that, to let people that look like me know that you got to carry yourself a certain way. You have to be responsible and do it a certain way. I can't just take it for granted. And not just the winning part of it. Even in losses, how you handle losses is vital. And not just to the black community, but to this whole community. Because people need to know this isn't, and I've said it a few different times, this isn't going to be a quick fix. I'm talking about changing the culture and making it sustained success, meaning that it's constant. It's year by year by year. And hopefully I can do that by, it's going to be some rocky roads. It's going to be some hard times. But if I do it the right way, I do it with integrity, hopefully people will see it headed in the right direction.
Can you give, like kids hope that, this is what I was able to do, this is what my story is, that, you can have optimism in your life too?
No question. That's the purpose of it is, to talk about my lack of education the first time, just falling in love with basketball, not caring about the other things. Well, now I know that if I'm evaluating a player, I have to look at it and say, what are you in the classroom? What are you in the community? What are you as a person? Who are your friends? Who do you hang out with? All of that is important. Who are your parents? What is their background? When you're evaluating people and players, you have to evaluate the whole gamut of it.
What's one thing you've done in Louisville that one fun thing in Louisville that you've done that nobody knows about?
Fun thing that I've done. I think it was fun to go to the Oats that day and sit in the turf club and take a million pictures and hug a bunch of people and make them feel good. And to me, that was fun. It was long and taxing, but it was fun.
In golf?
Not yet, not yet. I'm looking forward to it.
It's coming. You've settled on your staff. You've hired 3 guys that you've had relationships with in the past and known for at least a decade. Why is that, the trust factor and the relationship factor so important to you? Where does that come from?
Just years of experience being in the business. Sometimes the head coach, you really never get to know who these assistants are. You never get to know just how valuable they are. Everybody wants to put it on the head coach and only the head coach. Well, a staff is put together so that everybody is valuable, really valuable. I learned that from being with Cal. Cal allowed me to touch lives, and he was good with it. He never once said, Kenny, you're getting too big, or people are really trusting you and not me, or it was, we were together. And he knew that I had his back, and I really only cared about the young people and their families. So I want to do the same.
You've worked your way up the old-fashioned way, step by step, assistant coach for nearly 20 years. Your hiring has been pretty universally applauded. You've been praised. But the one thing people ask about every coach who's starting out for the first time head coaching job is, can he coach? What do you say to those people?
We'll see. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have all the answers. What I've learned in 20 years of coaching is that nobody has all the answers. I've been around Hall of Fame coaches that do not have all the answers. It's a moving target. Today you figure something out, tomorrow it changes. You have to figure that out the next day. So I expect to be a winning coach. That winning is twofold. The process of winning, I expect to win. So how we train, how we carry ourselves, how we play together, I expect to win that battle. What happens in a game, I expect the process to take care of the game, the preparation to take care of the game. Again, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be over time. But if I sit back and worry about winning the first day and not winning the long run, I'm cheating these kids. They need to know that this is a process. This is different. And the best thing I've done to prove that I'm going to be okay as a coach is hire great people. That's the key. That's the key.
You're only moving over one chair. Have you talked to any guys about what it's like when they go from top assistant to head coach?
I've talked to a bunch of guys, and everybody says the same thing. Just be myself. I know what it is, what winning basketball is. I know what losing basketball is. I'll be fine if I just trust what I'm doing, trust my gut, make decisions, precise decisions, quick decisions. And what I mean by quick is the moment you know what's right, do it. And if it fails, it fails.
We got to wrap along. You got, by my count, 6 returning players. What'd you need to hear from them, and what did they need to hear from you that they decided to stay and you decided to keep them?
The first thing was, how do you get over the pain that you went through, the hurt that you've been through? Whether it's right or wrong, it's their pain. So their reality is what it is. It's their reality. And so from hearing their pains, asking each one of these kids that you talk to your parents about it. Some of them, most of them said to a certain degree, but not all of it. Well, I need you to heal. In order to trust what I'm doing, you have to heal. You have to be open. Sometimes we take for granted that these young kids can just automatically flip a switch and they're going to trust what we're saying. Those days are over. So I wanted them to talk to their parents about how they felt, what they liked, what they didn't like. And then I followed that up with, tell me as a mother or father, what do you want for your kids? Did you know that he was feeling this way? And for the most part, they said somewhat, but not to that extent. Then, okay, I need you guys to continue to have conversations about what he's experienced since he's been in college, both good and bad. And then how do we heal? Because I'm asking you to do something that it's going to be pretty hard to do. To train every day, to love your teammates, to play together on both ends of the court, to have these big dreams, but know that these dreams can only happen if we win, which is another skill. So, just putting that together and getting them to feel comfortable with trusting me, that was first for me.
You got 6 guys coming back, 3 guys coming in, 4 spots open. How many of those spots do you expect to fill?
I need another wing, and I need some guards. Guard play is critical right now. And if I get a couple of good guards, we're going to have a pretty decent team. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Dalton, you got a couple questions?
What would 20-year-old Kenny Payne say if you would have told him you were going to be the head coach here?
20-year-old Kenny Payne would not even fathom being a head coach, not less known here. 20-year-old Kenny Payne would have thought he would be playing basketball till he was 60 years old. So.
Yeah. At what point in your life or your playing career did you realize you wanted to become a coach? And in that thought process, did you ever think that you would even initially have a chance to come back here?
I call these defining moments. A defining moment for me was Nike hired me to do the first Skills Academy. And what that was Kevin Love, Kevin Durant, Lou Williams, it was 18 or 19 high school players. And they were the best of the best. Most of them played in the league. One of them played here, Jerry Smith from Wisconsin. And listening and talking to those players, I learned a lot about myself. And there was one morning we were having breakfast, and I had Kevin Durant sitting to my right and Kevin Love sitting across the table from me. And Kevin Durant said to me, KP, I have to make it. My mother gets up at 4 o'clock every morning to take me to go lift weights and train. I got to make it for her. At that time, I think he was a junior in high school. To hear him say that with conviction, to hear him say, this is my motivating factor, that's coaching. For him to trust me to say those words, what if I took on that and said, I want to help you. That's what coaching is, not just the game. Helping young people achieve their goals and teaching them that it's more than just them making it. He said it. My mom has sacrificed for me. I'm doing this for her as well. So I learned that from him.
Just one more from me. Whenever you found out that you were going to get this position, I know probably a lot of thoughts and ideas went through your head. In those first couple of days and the things that you thought about and the vision that you had, how much of that has already come true and is in the works already?
A lot of it hadn't come true yet because it's going to take time. But the initial part of it, surrounding myself with a great staff, not a good staff, a great staff based off who they are as people. 2, my former players, guys that did what I did here at this university, embracing them, allowing them to be a part of this. I want them to come to practice. I want them to be a part of what we're doing. I want this community to never forget the players that have played here. I want this university to embrace these guys. I have no choice but to embrace them. They're my brothers. This community, it loves Louisville basketball. So let's give them something to cheer about. You know, and I said it in my press conference. What if? What if I'm able to help this university go to Final Fours? But more importantly, help young people reach their dreams and goals. So if I can do both, what happens to the system? We all walk away and say we won. And what if I help 30 players, 40 players, their families, this university, this community, this state, just by being good to people and being humble and letting them know that I didn't do this by myself. I'm not standing here saying I can do this by myself. I'm saying I need everybody. What if?
Do you think they'll hang that picture of you in the hard hat in the Basketball Hall of Fame when you make it one day?
If I help people, I could care less about the Hall of Fame.